In the headlines, PDP Board of Trustees meet weekend in Port Harcourt to resolve party crisis. Police Service Commission sacks 7 public officers, demote 10 others. Boko Haram kills 3 in Chibok, Borno State. And on the foreign scene, Democratic Republic of Congo appoints new army chief as part of military reforms. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And we begin with politics, where the Senator Adolphus Nwabara-led PDP Board of Trustees on Tuesday met Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike in Port Harcourt. The meeting is aimed at finding a lasting solution to the crisis rocking the opposition party. Governors of Enugu, Abia, Benue and Oyo states, as well as some top PDP stakeholders in the state, attended the meeting from Wike's camp. Governor Wike at the weekend met with Governors Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State, Samuel Ortom of Benue State in Enugu, where issues concerning the crisis rocking the party were discussed. Wike and his team had boycotted the campaign flag-off of the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. Although the outcome of the meeting is yet to be made public, inside sources believe that the BOT is prevailing on both divides to reach a compromise to enable the party face the 2023 elections in unity. Former governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party in Gombe State, Jamilu Gwamna, said the only solution to the crisis in the party at the national and state levels is inclusivity. The PDP stalwart, who spoke in an interview with newsmen in Gombe, said he's optimistic that the reconciliation efforts initiated by the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar to reconcile aggrieved members of the party will yield fruitful results. Ibrahim Ismail tells us more.
Concerned about the current crisis in the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Dr. Jamilu Ishaku Gwamna, a stalwart and former governorship candidate of the PDP, advised all members to facilitate genuine reconciliation. He said having divisions in both state and federal government levels will not help the party, but further complicate issues posing threat to its unity and victory.
Well, you see, the answer to all these things is genuine reconciliation. If any party, whether PDP or APC or anybody, any party, if they want to win an election, they must go as a united front. They should not allow all these divisive issues to scuttle as we see the imminent victory of PDP in Nigeria or in Gombe State or wherever. But that depends on genuine reconciliation. So, and that, puts a lot of responsibilities, especially those that have emerged as candidates of the party, to reach out to people, that are aggrieved, as our president, our presidential candidate is doing. He's still going, reaching out to people, the Wike camp, on this. He has not given up, and I believe he's not going to give up. So if you come back to Gombe State, if there's going to be a genuine reconciliation of people, that, to be brought on board.
When asked about the chances of the PDP in Gombe State in the 2023 elections amid grievances at national and state levels, Dr. Jamilu said the recent visit by the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar indicated that Gombe is for PDP.
And this is, as I said, this is democracy. You cannot take away that right of people to choose whoever they want to choose. But the majority, the voice of the majority in Gombe State is for Atiku Abubakar.
The People's Democratic Party had been in turmoil since the emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as its presidential candidate for the 2023 general elections. a situation that created tension between the PDP presidential candidate's camp and that of Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Political campaigns ahead of the February 2023 general elections officially began on Wednesday, 28 September. With the commencement of campaigns, politicians across party lines have already given an indication of what to expect during the period via their utterances from the onset. The increasingly toxic language being employed by various camps in the few days since campaigns started remains an issue that has been attributed to the decline in societal values. Our correspondent examines what is responsible for the decline in societal values and the legal implications of campaign language, especially on social media. The report.
As preparations for the 2023 general elections gather momentum with campaigns officially on, one thing that has characterized a few days of campaign period has been the very unsavory and not too decent language by political actors. This is because campaigners seem determined to rain abuses, name call, trade damaging allegations, and release controversial video and audio messages, especially in social media, that are nothing but disturbing to the barest of decency.
The advent and lack of any leverage on what to print or what to say over the net has contributed to the misbehavior, so to say, of our youths who can say anything against anybody unchecked. And secondly, the zeal of the politicians, more especially the presidential candidates. They are so tense, they are so desperate, they are so demanding. They want to get the chair, be it that of president or governor, so at all costs.
Though there is a freedom of expression in Nigeria as enshrined in the Constitution, many are curious to know if there are legal implications and the language being used, especially on social media, during campaigns.
Yes, so generally under our laws, the Constitution provides for the freedom of speech, but this freedom of speech also has its limitations. So where it's hate speech, it's now against the Constitution, or where an individual or a candidate is brought to disrepute by words or writings made by anybody or any organization. It's against the letters and spirits of the Constitution. And then such individual that is being brought to disrepute has a right to ask that such statements be withdrawn. He also has a right to also request that those also making those statements against him tender apology. And where they do not, even before the courts, a matter can be filed under libel or slander.
INEC has warned that abusive, slanderous or base language or innuendos designed or likely to provoke violent reactions or emotions should not be employed or used in political campaigns. But is this enough to address the situation? Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Police Service Commission on Tuesday dismissed 7 senior police officers over gross misconduct. The commission also approved the reduction in rank of 10 other officers. The decisions were taken during the continuation of the 15th plenary meeting of the commission. The meeting, presided over by its acting chairman, Justice Clara Ogumbi, considered all the pending disciplinary matters, which totaled 47 before the commission, and also treated some appeals from dismissed police officers. Justice Ogumbi, according to the spokesman of the commission, Ike Chukwani, called on police officers to ensure that they operate within established rules and avoid taking laws into their hands. Residents in Lagos have expressed concern over increasing cost of living without commensurate increase in monthly incomes. The residents made the expression while seeking government intervention in the current economic situation of the country. Trust TV reporter in Lagos, Yvonne Ugwezwaha, reports that foodstuff and other basic amenities have virtually tripled in price in the last 1 year, making it extremely difficult for the residents to survive. According to the residents, getting 3 square meals daily alongside their necessities such as shelter, education, healthcare for their families has become extremely difficult. They decry the hike in price of both services and products in the market.
As a freelancer, I try to increase my price, but to some extent, until you get a better client who will pay your bills.
There's not been increase, but we are still trying to find scouts for additional sources of income.
I work with some companies too. My salary has not increased. Yeah. So, and tax is being removed. All of these, it's really crazy. But then
egg is 100 naira. Before we used to buy egg 30 naira, then went to 50 naira, then 70 naira. Egg is 100 naira.
Meat, without resort to Pomo, and federal government don't want bank Pomo. Sure. Oh, but men are not ban anything.
Survival in these times, I would say, is very, very hard. But with what we have, I would say, just use what you have. Now we ration our things, portion by portion.
Surviving the increase or the inflation in prices is really crazy. Sometimes we try to, increase our price, our charges.
Still in politics, the reclamation of land in Benin has led to the demolition of over 100 buildings in 4 communities and has resulted to a war of words between the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. APC, in a statement on Monday by its chairman, Colonel David Imuse, retired, accused the state government of hiding under the guise of building a new town to take over the area. The party also faulted the state government's claim that the area had over the years been acquired by the government and known as Ogba Forest Reserve, but still went ahead to issue certificates of occupancy to genuine buyers. He condemned the move in strong terms, describing it as undemocratic. However, the special advisor to the Edo State Governor on Media Projects, Crusoe Osage, has criticized the APC state chapter for faulting government's determination to end land grabbing in the state. He called the APC as the main culprits in the illegal enterprise by trying to claim possession of the land. Moving to education, despite announcement for the commencement of academic activities in Nasarawa State University, KEFI, by the management, the institution's branch of the ASU insists that none of its members will comply with the directive. The union made this known after a closed-door meeting between the National Executive Council of ASU and members of the union in KEFI. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in this report as presented from our studio.
The management of Nasarawa State University KEFI had announced that students should resume for the commencement of academic activities on the 28th of last month. The announcement triggered reactions from lecturers and students. While the students, through the student union government, promised to heed management's announcement, the ASU branch of the university said it remained answerable to the directives of the national body of the union, which had not asked them to resume. National President Emmanuel Osodeki, who addressed ASU members of Nsuk during the closed-door meeting, did not speak to journalists. However, one of the National ESCO members who spoke on condition of anonymity said it is not unconnected to a decision that might be taken sometime within the week. When journalists insisted to know the outcome of the closed-door meeting, ASU chapter of Nsuk, Samuel Alu, explained the resolution of the meeting.
We wrote to the national body of our union concerning the resolution taken in the last Congress. And that informed the reason why he came here to clarify. Because to him, the resolution we took is not part and parcel of the principles of the union. And as such, he came here to clarify that, which he has done. And I can assure you there was a resounding unanimous decision that the strike should continue. And our resolution of the last Congress was jettisoned.
On possible sanction of lecturers who refused to resume work by the management, the Nsuk chairman of ASU said such action will amount to contempt of court.
This issue of reopening the university or forcing lecturers to go back to class is already a national issue. You recall that the federal government dragged ASUU to court, the industrial court, and an interlocutory injunction was passed, and ASUU appealed that particular injunction and also applied for stay of execution of order. And so it is binding on all ASUU members. If Nasarawa State University administration decide to do otherwise, I think, in my own little understanding, that will amount to court contempt. And that will, the management will have the law to contend with. It's not the union's business.
The Nsuk chairman of ASUU expressed confidence that none of the ASUU members will sign the attendance register for coming to work.
Federal government has officially registered Congress of Nigerian University Academics, CONUA, a breakaway faction of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, as a trade union in the country. A source hinted that the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, will present a certificate of registration to the new union before end of business on Tuesday. The official explained that the move by the government is part of processes to deregister ASUU with a view to checkmating its incessant strikes that have grounded public universities in the last 7 months. Daily Trust had reported that the government in September threatened to withdraw registration of ASUU as a trade union over its alleged failure to submit its audited reports as required by law in the past 5 years. The Registrar of Trade Unions reportedly wrote a query to the union on why its certificate of registration should not be withdrawn for running foul of the law. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Why Ekpomo should not be banned. Do stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of some of our major stories. We told you that PDP Board of Trustees meet weekend in Port Harcourt to resolve party crisis. We also told you that Police Service Commission sacks 7 public officers, demote 10 others. Moving to security, Boko Haram terrorists have killed at least 3 persons in a fresh attack on Jilang community, Chibok local government area of Borno State. A source who confirmed the incident on Tuesday said the insurgents struck at the recently reopened Maiduguri-Damboa Road in the early hours of today. In the process, several houses were set ablaze with many other residents of the area sustaining different degrees of injuries. Moving away from that story, a Kano High Court sitting at Miller Road has adjourned the hearing of Chinese national Geng Quangrong, accused of killing his Nigerian girlfriend, Kulsum Sani Buhari, over absence of an interpreter. At the resumed hearing, Defense Counsel Muhammad Dang Azami moved the motion that the sitting cannot proceed as the accused person needs to be communicated to in the language he understands. Speaking shortly, Kano State Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice Lawal Musa Abdullahi said the case could not be heard as the accused person has the constitutional right to be communicated to in the language he understands. The case has now been adjourned to October 27. The deceased and accused were said to have been dating before the relationship turned sour. On a sad note, 9 members of the same family have reportedly died under mysterious circumstances in Nagazi, Adavi local government area of Kogi State. They include 5 children of the same parents and 4 others. It was gathered that the incident, which happened on Monday evening, saw 5 family members dying at a spot before 4 others were rushed to the hospital. Sources told our correspondent that the remaining 4 later died at an undisclosed hospital in the area. A family source who craved anonymity said the father of the deceased victim had been arrested while the mother is still receiving treatment at an undisclosed hospital. All efforts to speak with the Kogi State Police Public Relations Officer William Aya proved abortive at the time of filing in this report. Residents of Lagos have expressed mixed reactions on the plan by the federal government to ban the consumption of pomo in Nigeria. A cross-section of Lagos residents who spoke with Trust TV in Lagos say pomo remains a popular protein for average Nigerians. Yvonne Ugwezoha reports that many residents are asking the government to provide alternatives if they're serious about the ban.
No increment at all. We are just only managing with what they give to us. Formerly, we buy some food stuff like 100 naira. Now we bought it like 150, 200.
The exchange rate now in the normal banks about 415, well 330 to 415. But when you earn in dollars and you go to the black market, you can convert that for $1 for about 725. So imagine you're earning about $200 for those doing a menial work. 200 times 725. That's roughly over 140,000 plus.
What I want to say about that pomo is that they are trying to protect our health because they need a very good health for Nigerians. Though the money may be too small, but let's take our money to buy whatever we cater for our health.
Pomo for water thieves has more economic value in the country beyond what we can think or imagine. Now, banning pomo is going to do more harm than good.
Some people, what they can afford is only pomo. And to ban it, I don't think there is no nutrients in pomo. So that's all they can afford. So that is like one of the smallest things you can eat. They should just leave it.
In the long run, rather than banning it, let them actually look out for the long-term consequence of their present action. And I think that will actually help us to form better policies. Yes.
It affects, yes, because you have to buy half of what you're buying before. You have to buy half or quarter.
Well, we have no choice. They told us that it is what they buy is increasing. So anything they give to us, we have to take it like that.
An agri-tech expert and fresh farm produce merchant, Yakubu Bubayaro, has advocated the use of modern agricultural technology as a panacea to eventual post-harvest loss recorded by farmers of perishable farm produce across the country. Bubayaro said this in an exclusive interview with Trust TV in Zaria. He said the traditional way of preservation, transportation and marketing of fresh farm produce needs to be given a modern boost to fit into the global trend of commercialization. The report.
To the farmers is that they should exercise patience. We are working hard to see how we can maximize, increase the number of the plastic waste we have in Nigeria. And my also calling to also the government to try to see how they can come in, how they can support this sector, because in the estimates we found out that we lost about 50% of tomatoes in Nigeria due to poor packaging and handling of this fresh produce. So before government or any organizations talk about storage, they need to talk about the proper way of packaging, proper way of handling those tomatoes before they start talking about storage. Because this plastic crate can extend the shelf life of tomatoes into 2 weeks. You know, we have bad roads in Nigeria. You put your own tomatoes inside a raffia basket and send it to Lagos. It may take a week before it is to Lagos. Instead of just 2 days, it may spend a week.
President Muhammadu Buhari will on Friday present the 19.76 trillion naira 2023 budget to the joint session of the National Assembly. This is contained in a letter by the President addressed to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan and read at the commencement of plenary Tuesday. According to the presidential letter, the budget presentation will take place 10 a.m. at the temporary chambers of the House of Representatives. Senate President said arrangement has been made to accommodate all members of the National Assembly and the President's entourage. Daily Trust reports that both the Senate and House of Representatives chambers are undergoing renovation, causing the relocation of federal lawmakers to a makeshift chamber. In business, the number of used cars brought into the country has dropped in the first half of this year by 177.2 billion naira. This is according to a report by the National Bureau of Statistics. According to the report, in the first half of 2022, 169 billion naira worth of used vehicles with diesel or semi-diesel engine of cylinder capacity was imported, with a breakdown of 72.3 billion naira in the first quarter and 96.7 billion naira in the second quarter. However, in the corresponding year, first half 2021, 346.2 billion naira of the commodity was imported. Also, in the second half of 2021, 271.1 billion naira of the commodity was imported. The federal government introduced the vehicle identification number early this year for proper valuation of imported used vehicles, but importers and agents had a face-off with the Nigerian Customs Service on the platform's challenges. They said that the scheme had increased the cost of clearing such vehicles. And finally, away from Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi has replaced the head of country's armed forces as part of a broader military reform aimed at boosting efficiency. In a statement from the presidency on Monday, Christian Chiwewe Songesa, former commander of the Republican Guard, an elite unit in charge of protecting the head of state, was named as the new Army Chief of Staff, replacing Celestine Mbala Monsense. The new Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Jerome Chika Chitambwe, comes from the same unit. The wave of appointment in DRC's army is part of a broader framework of military reform, Kusema told writers. A new military programming law was recently drawn up for the period 2022 and 2025. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.